This video is going to be very fun. This is something I've been thinking of doing for a while. However, the past lists I have done, I wasn't really that happy with. However, I came up with this before of my favorite albums of every year I had been alive, including honorable mentions for the year. They're pretty self-explanatory. For those who do not know, I was born in 2008. I am 17, turning 18 in a couple months. And no, I will not be counting 2026, uh, just because the year isn't over. But and also, I will probably be making a video on my favorite album of the year so far. Without further ado, let's get into it. My favorite album from the year I was born. There was some pretty cool, picks. Already, there were some pretty cool picks. Just to say something, but that just spoils the honorable mention. But there was one album this year that ended up being better than the rest. Dragging a Dead Deer Up a Hill by Grouper was my favorite album of 2008. That is actually in my top 5 albums of all time. I don't think I found an atmosphere like that on any other album. It is absolutely spectacular. It sounds so eerie and haunting and really gloomy, but in the most stunning way possible. There's another album on this list, which spoiler alert, we know what this album will be, but that's the only other album that reminded me a lot of that gloominess. And my honorable mention for 2008 is Third by Portishead. My favorite band. Third has a lot of absolutely amazing instrumentation and just absolutely awesome vocals from Beth Gibbons and the whole band. Alright, 2009. This one's easy. I did a video on this pretty recently, so I won't go too in depth. The Long Lost, self-titled, very sweet, soft, acoustic-based album, which has very just cute moments of just indie pop and all that. I made a video on it recently. Go watch that. My honorable mention. Sorry, I cannot. Oh, I can see that. My honorable mention. I'm probably gonna butcher this. Vegetimist by Grizzly Bear. That album is so fantastic. There is a lot of really cool psychedelic indie production, which was one of my favorite parts of the whole thing. That cover art is super sick, and I love the vocals. Them vocals, incredible. 2010. I there was a few. No, it was a bit of an underwhelming year, but going forward, there will be a lot more of picks that might shock you. But for 2010, I ended up choosing Cosmogramma by Flying Lotus. Fuck Flying Lotus for using AI in his recent thing. We do not support AI in art. Fuck that shit. But Cosmogramma was such a fantastic album. The really glitchy, production. It's super fast paced, but it's so spacious and atmospheric at the same time that honestly, it feels like in such a world of its own. It's so hard to explain. My runner up was Echo Jams by OPN, One Tracks Point Never. Really good album, really fantastic album. That's all I can say because I feel like a lot of things have already been said about it. All right, going forward, this would actually be now probably more surprising. 2011. There's some like pretty good albums, so it was actually hard. It was, the James Blake self-titled, all that stuff. But I chose Undone by The Roots, one of my favorite albums of all time. That album is one I have revisit so often because of just how incredible the story is, how incredible the sound just captivated me. I absolutely love every element of the album fits together so cohesively and incredibly that I feel like I'm watching a movie and I do not want to look at my phone. I'm completely hooked. I just do not want to do anything else when I listen to this album. I cannot read that. Okay. My honorable mention though, and honestly, this was really close. It was Replica by One Oh Tricks Point Never. That is one of my favorite ambient albums of all time. That's the album that got me into ambient. So I will always have such a deep love for Replica, one of the most gorgeous and incredible albums of all time. Sampling a bunch of these old ads, and then just fucking them up so much that they sound so distorted and granular, but also so atmospheric, and you have these like ambient Simpson chords just like wash over you. All right, 2012. Oh, you guys are gonna hate me for this. It is not Kendrick. I have Uneven Compromise by Lil Ugly Mane. What? I know. I love Kendrick and Good Kid, Mad City. However, over the past year, this had become like one of my favorite projects. Just in general, I got really into Lil Ugly Mane last year, and out of all the ones I heard, I heard Mr. Fug Isolation, Volcanic Bird Enemy, the ones that people talk about the most. Out of the ones I did hear, Uneven Compromise was my favorite. That was like a 10-minute odyssey of a look at someone's mental health over these absolutely distorted instrumentals that sound kind of like from hell at some points. My my honorable mention for 2012 was Black Pleasure by Cities of Eve, one of the best cloud rap projects as it is so interesting. And honestly, I have had a lot of issues with cloud rap. A lot of it started to sound a lot similar or trying to copy too much of Drain Gang's aesthetic. Black Pleasure does not feel like that at all, and I love that. 2013, I can't read this. I'm so sorry, I just don't have any good line. 2013, I don't know if you. Okay, this is cool. For 2013, my favorite album is Crack Clouds Over Art's Kitchen by Black Cray. What a fantastic project. I don't care if it's labeled a mixtape, that's my favorite project that year. Album, I don't care. It's such an amazing album. The production, I genuinely felt like it was super layered. Of course, the songs like Hydrocodone on there that just show you the length of just how the layered and deep the production is, and even Black Cray talking about a lot of his life experiences throughout the project. I know I'm sounding vague, but I'd rather you just listen to the album and then you come back with your thoughts. That album is so fantastic. For my honorable mention, we have 6 Feet Beneath the Moon by King Cruel, a really unique blend of like indie rock and trip hop, which has a lot of psychedelic elements and a lot of sort of soft, sort of jazzy elements. This is one of King Cruel's like sonically, like instrumentally, really dark and like existential. Like this is one of his darkest. 2014. So sorry, I could not read that for a second. Black Metal by Dean Blunt. What a surprise! I got really into Dean Blunt a few years ago, and Black Metal was an album that always stuck with me. There is so much fantastic songs, 50 Cent, Lush, 100, I know, and even songs like X, like the longer songs. I think Molly and Aquafina are also fantastic songs. This one was so drenched in such nostalgia, but it doesn't feel like it's trying to recapture a nostalgia of a time. It feels like it's almost like it's trying to reach the point where you can recognize it, like it sounds nostalgic, but it doesn't want it to be nostalgic. That's just my personal thought. And my honorable mention, Faces by Mac Miller. There's nothing I can say about this that has not been said already. Amazing project. 2015. Is it To Pimp a Butterfly? It is not. It is not. It's not in my list at all for 2015. Why is that? Because my favorite album of 2015 is The First Farewell by Virtual Dream Plaza. So much people really need to listen to this. This was one of the best ambient albums I've ever heard. Like, oh my god. I was reading an interview a couple days ago, and this was mentioned, and just like what they were talking about. Yeah, that's all I can say. The bells, the arpeggio, honestly, the atmosphere of it as a whole. Oh, I just like this is an album I want inserted into my veins. Like it's so fucking good. Oh, I could. It might be a top 10 album for me. It's so fantastic. And my runner-up for it, which my honorable mention, I Don't Like Shit, I Don't Go Outside by Earl Sweatshirt. That and another album, which will be mentioned later on, uh, go back and forth between my favorite Earl album. I love Earl, he is so good. The reason I love I Don't Like Shit so much is just because of how moody it feels. Compared to some of his later works, this one is drenched in atmosphere. Absolutely, like soaked in in such otherworldly sounds. Like grief just sounds like cold. It just sounds cold, and I don't mean that. And like, oh, the bars are cold. Like it just sounds like snow and ice. Oh my god, that album is so amazing. Right, 2016. This one should not be that much of a surprise. Atrocity Exhibition by Danny Brown. For ages, this was my favorite album of all time, and Danny Brown is in my top 5 artists of all time. He is so incredible. I love Danny Brown's music so much, and the Danny Brown show is really fantastic too. Excuse me, but yeah, I absolutely love Atrocity Exhibition. This sounds like a downward spiral, which is funny because that's the intro song. And my runner-up was Black Star by David Bowie, an incredibly good jazz rock and just an album in general. And it was such a sad look at, you know, Bowie facing death and mortality in his own way a few days before he died. Of course, we know that. Let's move on. 2017. I'm gonna be honest, this one was actually not that easy to choose. Not that there was much good albums, I'm saying that there was mostly albums that dropped this year I actually felt a little underwhelmed by. You know, I'm not the hugest fan of like Damn or Flower Boy, so choosing one was a little difficult. But then I got reminded of this one album, and then I was like, oh yeah, well that's my favorite. Saturation Free by Brockhampton. That album was so fantastic. I remember my first listen last year in June. I was lying on my bed at like 6 a.m. and I just listened to it and oh, I love it. Not only is it just incredibly good, like pop rap, and there is such beautiful singing and production moments throughout the whole thing. It's just overall an insanely good finale to the Saturation trilogy, and I thought it was such an incredibly cohesive and amazing project, and I love it so much. My honorable mention is Process by Sampha, one of my favorite R&B albums. Such absolutely gorgeous singing, and I just everything about that album is so futuristic and beautiful. 2018. This is the other Earl album we're talking about. I'm sure a lot of you can guess. Some rap songs. I love that album so much. I have it on. I'm not gonna get it, but I do have it on vinyl. Wow, what an album! It is like 15 songs. I know, like 20 something minutes, and it takes you through its journey. It did not need to be longer. It did not need to be shorter. It was perfect. That's all I can say. And my runner-up is Little Dark Age by MGMT, one of my favorite bands, and this album is super awesome synth pop, which is amazing to hear. I love Oracular Spectacular a lot too. That was in contention, but you know I'm not born in 2007, so can't really put that in. The reason it was in contention, by the way, is because I forgot that it was in 2007. I thought it dropped in 2009. So, and I could be wrong about the 2007. It could have even dropped earlier. I just know I wasn't alive when it dropped. But yeah, Little Dark Age, what an incredible album. And super awesome cover art too. A lot of these albums, I know I haven't been saying it, almost all these albums have insanely amazing cover art. So, shout out to the people who did them. And my runner-up. Oh wait, no, that was my runner-up. So sorry, I forgot. All right, 2019, where we are ending the 2010s. My album of the year. My favorite album was Magdalene by FKA Twigs. Sorry, my hair is in my mouth. But oh my gosh, absolutely gorgeous and just devastating songs. You know, Fallen Alien sounds so loose, but so impactful and emotional, and it's just filled with so much. I went on like a binge last year of listening to the whole FKA Twigs discography. This was the album that really stood out to me the most. You know, and honestly, before like I did that, I wasn't a big fan. I heard Eusexual, I loved that, but before that, I just was not too into FK Twigs, so I decided let's actually get into her. Why not? Got into her, one of the best artists, one of my favorites. And my honorable mention, All My Heroes Are Cornballs by JPEG Mafia. That is honestly tied with Communist Slow Jams as my favorite Peggy album, but I think I might like All My Heroes Are Cornballs a bit more. I personally love the more surreal sort of pop elements with the glitchy hip hop production. It creates such a unique atmosphere, and like it builds this sort of world that I don't feel like I have gotten on much others. It really scratches a certain itch in my brain. Alright, we're in the 2020s now. 2020. A lot of really good music. And that's why it really was these from 2020 to 2025, this was insanely hard to actually choose. In fact, most of these ones could literally interchange any day. It just depends on how I feel. But, you know, let's go. For 2020, my favorite album is Alfredo by Freddie Gibbs and The Alchemist. I'm not really big on The Alchemist in general, and Freddie Gibbs, I really like Soul Sold separately and his stuff with Madlib. However, outside of that, I'm not the biggest fan. I didn't really feel too strongly about, I didn't feel strongly about Alfredo 2, which kind of made me sad, and I did not listen to the You Only, Die Once or Die Twice. I forgot the name. I'm so sorry. But Alfredo just happens to be the one I end up wanting to revisit more. Sure, there is more features on it. However, I feel like that makes it where Freddie has to step up his game so he does not get out rapped, and I think he does such an amazing job. And I feel like also The Alchemist, this is like the perfect instrumentation. It's got that level of grittiness that I like because it's dark, and that's why I like it. Just sounds so eerie, but also so intense and dark, and that's all I can say. It sounds like I'm watching like an episode of Breaking Bad or The Sopranos. And my honorable mention was How I'm Feeling Now by Charlie XCX, one of the best pop albums, hyper pop, whatever you want to call it. Just really fantastic. 2021, best prize, By the Time I Get to Phoenix, Injury Reserve, now going by Storm. This album means everything to me. You want to know the funny thing? I think I mentioned this in another video, but when I was first like getting into rap back in like 2021 and I was hearing all about this album, I had been seeing the term post-rap be used so much. And you know what? Like, it's such a stupid term. It's such a stupid term, but I've already got a video on that. And I might make another one because I feel like I did a kind of shit job on that one. But who knows? By the time I get to Phoenix, the production is so chaotic. Like, it really does not sound like anything else I've heard, and I don't think there's ever going to be an album like it ever again. And that's okay, because I just want to listen to this one. I don't want to listen to a rip-off of By the Time I Get to Phoenix when I can just listen to By the Time I Get to Phoenix. And my runner-up, my honorable mention, which is honestly, like, it depends on the day. That could be my album of the year. Nurture by Porter Robinson. So sorry that my nose is getting a bit sick. But Nurture by Porter Robinson is one of the most luscious and just gorgeous albums I've heard. Look at the Sky, Something Comforting, Musician, all that stuff. Ah, it's such a good album. There's a period of time last year I was listening to Nurture, Revenge Seekers, and I was just playing Minecraft, and it was like really like it was like autumn. I'm Australian, so that's like right now. The sun was beaming in. It's just so nice. And yeah, what a fantastic album. Right, 2022. This is the album I was hinting at the beginning. I Didn't Mean to Horn You by Quedeca. What a surprise. Honestly, I've been thinking about redoing my Quedeca video because I feel like I have so much. I want to give more of my thoughts on the album as a whole. So I might take down that video and do what I did like with the Vanisher video and just explain my personal interpretation and my thoughts and my connection to the album. Thank you, Quedeca, for creating my favorite album of all time. What I believe is one of the best pieces of music to just ever just happen because oh my gosh, it just blows my mind every time. Honorable mention Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers by Kendrick Lamar. That's my favorite Kendrick album. You can kill me. I don't care. I'm gonna stand on business. It's my favorite Kendrick album. You know, there is obviously shit I don't agree with. Fuck Kendrick for having Kodak Black on the album. But I want to look at the musical aspects and the themes. I thought that the themes were so beautiful. I also have a lot of bias because this was the first ever show I went to see. I have seen Kendrick and Baby Keem at the Mr. Morale tour with Tana Leone. Gotta mention Tana Leone. Does not get enough mention. But yeah, such an incredibly deep and emotional album that for a while became therapy for me, or at least very therapeutic. And when I was first really starting to delve into music, it was Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, The Glow Part 2 by the Microphones, and Hellfire by Black Midi that really like gave me the push to keep going. 2023. I've seen a lot of people say 2023 was such a bad year for music, and I have to disagree. I feel like there was so much underrated albums, but also like even the like a lot of the ones that did drop, so fucking incredible. This one this one was such an amazing album. This is my second favorite album of all time. Desire, I Want to Turn Into You by Caroline Polachek. Oh, Caroline Polachek. What a fucking goat. The legend. And this album, Welcome to My Island. What a song, Pretty Impossible. It sounds so throwback but futuristic at once. It's so hard to encapsulate the vibe of this album, but when I listen to this album, I feel like I'm soaring in the sky. It's like I'm flying high. It does something to me. It really it elevates my mood. And my runner-up, my honorable mentions, Burning Desire by Mike. I have maybe something about Mike coming soon, so I don't want to say too much, but Burning Desire, incredible album, and it's always one I end up revisiting the most out of Mike's whole discography. 2024. My 2024 ones have changed quite a bit. Originally, Scrapyard by Quedeca. However, as time has gone on, it just felt like it didn't hit the. It's still in my top 5 that year, just not my album of the year. So, what is my album of the year for 2024? Charm by Clairo. What a great album. There is absolutely gorgeous instrumentation. The instrumentation feels so lively. I'm forgetting the name, but the people who did it worked with Blackthought, I believe, and I feel like the band. I'm really trying to remember. Okay, I don't remember. I'm just gonna say the band. I'm so sorry, but they just did a fantastic job with Clairo. The whole album feels so lively and lush and deep and layered. And Clairo has these beautiful singing moments on the album, and even like the big songs, Juna and Terrapin. I feel like they earn this the right to be huge because oh my gosh, like just they have become like genuinely some of my favorite songs of all time. Sorry, just I love it. I am a huge Calero fan. If that's not obvious, you can say it's performative. I don't care. It's she's the goat. She is so fucking awesome. Calero is amazing. And my runner-up, Heavy Metal by Cameron Winter. That album I really got into like last year, like February, March last year, and for like a period of time I was absolutely hooked on it. And you know, it's still one of my favorite albums on vinyl. I have seen Cameron Winter live now, so I'm incredibly happy. I got to hear like Drinking Aid. When he did $0, I actually started like tearing up, like I was gonna cry because it was so fucking incredible, and I was just like, wow. All right, last year, 2025 was an incredible year for music. Not my favorite year of music, right? A lot of these years are so good. My favorite out of all these was 2018, but 2022 was close. But 2025, there's one album, I literally already talked about it, so I'm not really going to go into too much depth. Vanisher Horizon Scraper by Quedeca. Yeah, what an album! I've got a whole 40-minute video on it, so I'm not really going to talk about it so much, but yeah, just I've been listening, no questions asked, so much, and just getting just so blown away by not only the absolutely like voyage feel of the music, but also the visuals really captivated me in such like a sonically beautiful way. And my runner-up, my honorable mention, Willow B. Tucker, I Will Always Love You by F.L. Kane. F.L. Kane, one of my favorites too. Oh, and Willow B. Tucker, that was such a magical first listen. It was so dark. I was like sitting in my room and I was just listening to it, just really immersing myself in the world not Willow B. FL created for this. I am so sad I did not get to see FL live, but you know, it's whatever. Hopefully, again, sometime soon. But yeah, this album just captivated me in so much ways, and I love a lot of music that feels like it can take me to a new world. That's usually the music that I end up loving the most. Anyways, that's my favorite albums of each year I've been alive. I hope you enjoy. Wanted to do something more fun. I've been doing a lot of more serious videos, and there's gonna be a lot more serious stuff. So I thought let's have some fun. You know, let the people see my music taste. What do they think? You know, why not? Anyways, see ya in the next one, whatever that will be.